Okay, so let's take a look at this and see how it can make it really hard to fill your truck up with fuel, or your car, or anything for that matter, or anything that the government has said. Well, let's just get it open. At least I think I know what this is. It is supposed to be an OEM part, and it is child-proofed, which means I may not be able to get in it. They did try to protect it. I mean, that's a good thing. And I mean, I would assume Ford is still motorcrafted, but maybe not. I don't know. Vehicle Solutions. Part number CPA 1061. And some of you are going, okay, I get it. So what is this? This is a vent, for lack of a better way of putting it. So I don't know about that. Scrappy, or that. I'm kind of leery about it. I don't know if somebody was trying to scrape off part numbers to hide something. Because I mean, I know these things are, you get cheap Chinese and you get OEM, and a lot of people will buy cheap Chinese and call them OEM and sell them to you for OEM. This was so cheap that I really don't care if it's not OEM, and they sold it to me as OEM. The price they sold it to me is well below the list price for OEM, so they didn't really fool me a whole lot in any particular case. But so let's talk about this. If you're trying to put fuel in your vehicle and your fuel pump keeps kicking off, so the reason is the fuel is backing up and the pressure is causing the nozzle to release as though your tank is full, and that's what it's supposed to do. Now, what is causing that to happen is the air is not being released out of your tank. So you do have a line that'll usually come up like a vent in most vehicles right next to the filler neck, but that's not the vent for the tank. That is just helping you fill the, run gas down the filler neck, excuse me, and not have issues. So your gas tank has a vent line that will come out of the tank, go into a charcoal filter, and come out of that charcoal filter and go to the front of the vehicle, where you will have like a purge valve that will purge the vapors out of that vapor canister, pushing them into your intake to be reburnt. This the EPA thing to keep fuel vapors from coming into the atmosphere. And most people don't know this. And if you take anything away from this video, take this away. Gasoline is one of the most toxic substances you can come in contact with. And we come in contact with it every day. So keep that in mind and take that for what it's worth. And it's worth a lot, because you need to be very careful with gasoline. I've gotten it on me. I've washed my hands with it. I don't know how many times I've washed my hands with cuts and scrapes and gouges all over my hands without a second thought. But it is one of the most toxic substances that we deal with. And so that's part of the reason why they don't want the vapors to go into the atmosphere. And then the other part of the setup is when your vehicle is not running, then this valve should be in its default state, should open. Let me see. I don't know the way. Let's see. this is open by default. So I'm blowing this in, it comes out here. Now, whenever the vehicle is running, this plunger will plunge forward and it will block off the vapors so that they can only go through the purge valve that goes to the front, and that's how it gets relieved. So kill your engine before fueling. Well, there's a reason, and this is part of it. When you kill your engine, then this is deactivated. It goes into its inert state, which is opened, allowing it to vent to atmosphere so you can fill your tank, and the air comes out of your tank, goes through your charcoal filter, up through this valve, exits into atmosphere to allow air to purge out of the tank while you're filling it with fuel. Otherwise, it won't. It'll just back up and your pump will cut off. Then when you go start your vehicle again, well, this closes. And then your purge valve will take over in purging the vapors out of the canister going through your intake to be reburned. So I guess technically some vapors would still be released in the atmosphere, but a huge amount of them is cut back by a system like this. Is it great? I don't know. Does it help your fuel mileage? I don't think so. Does it hurt your fuel mileage? Probably not. In fact, it may help it because you got vapors that are flammable being purged back into your intake to be burnt. So who knows? You don't have fuel just evaporating out of your tank going into the atmosphere and disappearing anymore. Used to, that's how it was. The tank would vent straight out into the atmosphere. It'd just run out underneath the hood or run out the back of the vehicle or over by the filler neck and just vent out. And you'd smell gas really strong whenever you was filling up your vehicle because it was purging into the atmosphere. So the only time this is purging in the atmosphere, and on my particular truck, which is a 2015 F-150, the valve that this is controlling, when it starts to vent through this valve, it's a line going back over by the filler neck that just, and it's a rod sticks straight up. You'd have to be in deep, too deep to be worried about your vehicle water for it to go over this valve. And it's just got a little cap on it that's open to air. And so it can suck air up through that cap down through that line or go back the other way. And so that's where this is venting at whenever you kill your vehicle and you go to fill it up with fuel. And again, like I said, when you crank your vehicle up, then this valve, and it may not shut exactly then, or it may be on a schedule, it may be on a timer, I don't know. You have to talk to a mechanic, which I'm not, but my understanding how this works, then it'll close. And so it doesn't allow the tank to vent to atmosphere. So if this is stuck closed here, then there's no vapors can come through here and they won't come out here. And so when you're trying to fill your vehicle, the air pressure and it'll back up and it'll cause the pump to kick off. And that's what my truck's doing. And that's what causes this. Now, this is only one of the things that can cause that. Another thing that can cause that is your vapor canister getting too old. So over a period of time, your vapor canister, especially, and here's the thing, most of your manuals will tell you not to overfill your tank. They will tell you that once you're filling and the pump kicks off automatically, you're done, button it all up, and go to driving again. Don't try to top it off to get as much in there as you can. Because if you fill it up so full that the fuel comes up through that line back into the vapor canister, it'll I don't know if it'll emulsify, but it'll just turn all of that charcoal to sludge, and then it won't be doing its job, and it won't be able to vent through the charcoal canister properly anymore. And so that's the reason why you don't want to overfill your vehicle. But when that charcoal canister is messed up, then that is one of the things that can cause this to happen as well. Excuse me. Had a battery charging. And so that's one of the things that can cause this it to kick off so much. Now, with that said, you also have the purge valve up front that plays a part if you start getting errors and different things like that. But if you get errors like with your fuel cap, not sealing or whatever, check fuel cap and all that, then it could be that this valve is stuck closed, which allows it to naturally vent to the atmosphere as though you're filling your tank up with fuel. At that point, this should be closed, and you should have and I don't know, the system knows if your gas cap's off, but this would be just like your gas cap being off, because there would be no vacuum and no pressure either or in the fuel tank. It would be atmospheric level, and so it's like, hey, there's a problem. Your gas cap's not on. And on my particular truck, it doesn't have a gas cap. You go in there and push that lever a couple times to get it to seal back off the way it's supposed to, and that may fix that problem. Or it could be this valve is stuck in its default state like this, which it's open right now. This plunger comes up, seals this bottom part off, and no air can come in here. And so I think mine is stuck closed. I think my valve is stuck closed. When I get it out, I'll know for sure, but I'll have to drop the canister to get it all the way out. I pulled it out part way and almost got it out, but I couldn't get it all the way out. And this was so cheap that it wasn't just it's just a no-brainer. Just go ahead and get it, and we'll put it on there and try it. But it could be the vapor canister. And if it is, we may look into trying to rebuild the vapor canister, because those things are expensive, and they're stupid reason expensive. And so I don't know. We'll kind of look at that and see what we're going to do there. But that is a potential. And I've heard about rebuilding those, but the thing is you got to be careful, because if you don't do it right, it's also measuring a flow rate through there, I believe. And if the vehicle doesn't see that proper flow rate, then it kicks the code back to you. And I've seen people take those things apart and replace the charcoal inside of them with the same weight volume that you normally have, or whatever they took out. And so there's a bunch of different deals where they've rebuilt those, but I kind of think this is going to be my problem, but we'll see. So anyway, long-winded way of saying that if you can't fill your tank up because it keeps kicking off, this vent solenoid may be your problem. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you for sticking around for all of that. And I'll see you next time. Your time is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.